with Brianne Dippish and Joni Grave the big idea. Roy Moore's victory in Alabama and Bob Corker's retirement in Tennessee on Tuesday sent shockwaves across the Capitol and shivers down the spines of institutionalists in both parties. The dual developments are fueling concerns about the long-term health of the world's greatest deliberative body and heightening fears that the center may not hold in American politics. President Trump's chosen candidate lost by 9 points in a GOP runoff. Luther Strange, who was appointed to replace Jeff Sessions when he became Attorney General, is the first incumbent to lose a primary in 5 years. Moore, who brandished a revolver during a rally on the eve of the runoff, has promised that he will never compromise. He has twice been suspended as the Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court. In 2003, Moore disobeyed a federal judge's order to remove a statue of the Ten Commandments from the state judicial building. Then last year, after getting elected back to the court, he was removed again after urging state judges to defy the U.S. Supreme Court decision that legalized same-sex marriage. Moore believes in the supremacy of the Bible over the Constitution, and he compares homosexuality to bestiality. Karl Rove has been calling him this year's Todokin. Corker, the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, announced he won't seek a third term in 2018 after it became abundantly clear that he would face a well-funded primary challenge from his right. This is part of a bigger trend. There are fewer dealmakers interested in the finer points of governing. John McCain, a giant of the Senate, is battling brain cancer and said this week that his prognosis is not good. Strange's loss may prompt additional retirements and will undoubtedly embolden potential primary challengers next year. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake has already been in trouble. Now Nevada Senator Dean Heller and Mississippi Sen. Roger Wicker, who was chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee last cycle, both have fresh cause for concern. A handful of the Senate's most moderate Democrats might also lose next year. Even though Trump is unpopular nationally, Republicans might pick up seats in the 2018 midterms because of the nature of the map. Several Democratic incumbents are up for re-election in ruby red states, from West Virginia's Joe Manchin to Indiana's Joe Donnelly, North Dakota's Heidi Heitkamp, and Missouri's Clara McCaskill. If they lose, they'd almost certainly be replaced by much more ideologically rigid lawmakers who have less incentive to reach across the aisle. A similar dynamic is at play in the House, where several moderate Republicans have recently announced their retirements. Representative Charlie Dent, RPOT, lamented how hard it is to be a member of the governing wing of the Republican Party when he called it quits 3 weeks ago. "I've fought to fulfill the basic functions of government, like keeping the lights on and preventing default," he explained. Regrettably, that has not been easy given the disruptive outside influences that profit from increased polarization and ideological rigidity that leads to dysfunction, disorder and chaos. Mitch McConnell was yesterday's biggest loser. His last-ditch effort to repeal Obamacare before the end of the month failed. Corker has been one of his most reliable allies. And outside groups tied to the Kentucky senator just spent about $10 million trying to beat Moore. The judge is openly antagonistic of McConnell's leadership and, assuming he wins the general election, will undoubtedly become a pain in his caucus. For the first time since 2006, Republicans have full control of the federal government, both chambers of Congress, the White House and the Supreme Court. But GOP leaders have mostly been unable to capitalize on this immense power. For 7 years, Republican politicians promised to repeal and replace Obamacare. Yesterday, once again, they failed to follow through. The conservative grassroots are understandably angry. They are so angry that $10 million from McConnell-aligned outside groups and rescue missions from both Trump and Vice President Pence couldn't pull Strange across the finish line. He ran a spirited campaign centered around a dissatisfaction with the progress made in Washington, McConnell said in a statement congratulating Moore last night. "I share that frustration. This has happened before, angry that the Senate is dysfunctional. Voters elect new members who prefer to pour more sand into the gears than fix them." Unburdened by a sense of responsibility or institutional tradition, Moore will have an opportunity to use the considerable powers that individual senators possess to mangle the process of government, writes Stephen Stromberg, a Post editorial writer. When votes will be needed to keep the government open, pass a budget or respond to a natural disaster, more is likely to join bomb throwers such as